beautiful internet friends, welcome back to Trauma Talk. I'm your host, Joe, and also I would like to welcome you back to my least favorite day of the entire year. I hate October 30th. I hate October. I've hated October for a very long time, 8 years now, officially. If you watch my channel for a while, you know that this is the month, and this specifically is the anniversary, kind of the worst of it, where a lot of my trauma occurred. I have a lot of really bad memories, and if you know anything about how memories are formed and how trauma activates things, senses often trigger trauma memories. And the air and the way that Colorado feels in October is so distinct. Most people in Colorado love October because it's a beautiful month. It's clear and crisp and so distinct, and I can't stand it. It is really difficult. It's a very dark month for me. Then there's also all the visual memories of like Halloween decorations going up around neighborhoods and things like that. So I struggle with this month, and I'm so glad that it's finally almost over. But I've made it a habit to try to do something every October to make the month a little bit better. So I want to say 4 years ago now, I went to my first Break the Silence Against Domestic Violence table. I helped out at a university campus, and people would come and tell their stories and get resources, and it was a very eye-opening moment for me that oh, I can actually help people. And that sparked kind of a passion that I already had. And then the next year, I started this channel, and I started actually telling my story online and talking about life in the aftermath of trauma, and that has been an incredible experience and something I am unbelievably grateful for. And last year, this is gonna sound a little bit dumb, but last year I decided I kind of wanted to sleep through the month, and so I scheduled my leg amputation for October 11th. It kind of coincided with when it needed to happen anyways, but it worked out that I kind of slept through the month. And then this October, I got my prosthetic leg, I'm learning to walk again, and so I'm trying to associate better things with it. I'm trying real hard, guys, but it's a hard month. But with the idea of anniversaries in mind, I wanted to go back to the very first video that I made on this channel. Now, keep in mind, I haven't watched this in a very long time. I remember the last time I tried to turn it on, I turned it off very quickly. It's vulnerable and it's uncomfortable, and so I thought, you know what, let's watch that back together today and review what ended up being a very good memory of taking a step in a direction of speaking out, talking about what had happened publicly, which has been a very healing thing for me over the past 2 years. This video is called Sexual Assault Story, Does It Ever Get Better? And I remember there is another video that no longer exists that I'm kind of sad about. And I remember sitting down on my green couch, which we don't have anymore, in front of my windows over there, and I pressed play on my little camera, iPhone, and I yelled at the camera that I was gonna be a part of the solution, damn it. And then I deleted that video, which makes me angry. I shouldn't have done that. And then I recorded this video in one take, and then I edited out the pauses. I edited way too much, but that's beside the point. Let's hit play.
Hey everybody, it's Joe. I just wanna take a moment to tell you a quick story.
My hair looks great there. I want that hair back.
6 years ago, yesterday,
I don't want to roast myself here, but I look like someone's holding me at gunpoint. I look very frightened of the camera.
I was raped by a pastor, someone I loved and trusted completely. My life was shattered. Everything I knew was upside down, and I was really barely holding on.
Well, that's accurate. For being someone who online is fairly vulnerable and open, man, it's still hard, and it's hard watching myself talk about stuff. I can talk about it, but actually watching that happen is sickening sometimes to me.
I got a letter from a friend that an acquaintance of ours had been date raped at a bar. It broke my heart, and I got a hold of her number, and I called her, and I just said, I don't have any answers, but I just want you to know that I experienced something similar, and I'm so sorry.
I remember doing that, and I remember thinking, this is probably so horribly inappropriate. I shouldn't be calling her. She didn't reach out to me. And generally speaking, that's gonna be accurate, but in this case, it worked out, and it worked out really well, and we're still good friends.
And we talked for a while, and then she asked me a question I will never forget. She said, I just wanna know, does it get better? And I told her, yes. And in that moment, I lied because I
definitely lied. I definitely lied then because
no idea. I had no clue. I was drowning. I had no idea which way was up and which way was down. And I think in that moment, I made a decision that was going to be true. I started getting help. I talked to people. I went to counseling. I did everything that I could think to do.
I distinctly remember that phone call. I know I've said that already, but I remember pacing back and forth in my townhome, and I was so nervous, but talking to someone who had been through the same thing, I really wanted to help, but I also was so messed up. I was so lost. I didn't know which way was up and which way was down. Really, I did want it to be true, and I wanted to make it be true, and I have made it be true. It absolutely does get better without a shadow of a doubt.
To survive, I started smoking and driving around the city with
That was my favorite pastime. Not a healthy one, but hey, I survived.
Beautiful, protective German Shepherd just to stay alive. I did what I had to do to make it, and step by tiny little step, things got better.
And that's so true, isn't it? There are really no big steps in trauma healing, at least in my experience.
It's 6 years later. It still hurts. Things are not perfect.
It's 8 years later and things still hurt and they're not perfect, but they're better than they were 6 years ago, or 2 years ago, I guess.
The memories don't go away, but guess what? It does get better. If you've experienced this, if you've experienced something similar, I know part of what you're feeling. I know that it feels like nothing can ever be okay ever again. But it can. If you've experienced this, makes me want to cry for 2 reasons. I am so sorry for what you've experienced. I'm so proud that you're alive, that you're making it, that you woke up this morning. What you need to do is just keep waking up. I know that in so many moments I felt completely alone.
That's something, I don't even know if it's that great advice, but that's something that I tell myself and I tell other people consistently when it comes to making it through something. It's literally, sometimes it's months of just getting through the end of the day and forcing yourself to go to bed and then forcing yourself to wake up and doing it again. And if you do that long enough, and you do that long enough and then find a direction and you find pieces of a life, it does get better. It absolutely does get better, but it takes time and it's not glamorous or easy.
Completely overwhelmed, completely numb, completely everything. And I did not see a future. I didn't think that there was a world in which anything could feel different, but there was and there is. And I promise you it gets better.
I promise you, it really does get better.
There are people who get it. There are people who will come into your life if they are not already in your life, who will be there to support you. Follow the links on your screen to common resources across the country that can help.
So the rest of the video is me just kind of wrapping up and directing people to resources, but it's funny, so many of my videos are things that I've needed to hear, and so I'll speak them out and hope that they resonate with other people, because they resonate with myself. You know, if either people have said them to me and I desperately needed to hear them, or no one has ever said it to me and I really wanted to, you know, and people understanding and people getting it and people being there is so necessary to this whole process of healing. Past Joe agrees with present Joe that there are people out there who get it. If this is something you've gone through, if this is something you're dealing with, it feels so isolating and weird and alone, but you're not alone. You're really not alone. I promise there are people who get it. I promise there will be people who understand if they aren't already in your life, like I said, and it's gonna be okay one day, tiny bit by tiny bit. Thanks for watching back my first video with me. Even though this is a video that I technically record alone in my own home, it's nice to like record it with you guys, knowing that other people are gonna be sitting with me watching it. So thank you for that. Happy anniversary to Trauma Talk. Let's get done with this day. October 30th, not a fan. And on to November, which I'm very excited for. I love you guys, thinking of you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.